And I'm sure anyone else that's in the middle of their summer months right now is feeling the same way. Heat in Japan is hard because there's a lot of humidity, so it is really kind of like an extra little wallop of heat smacked in your face every day. We are trying really hard this year especially to cut back on the amount of use of air conditioners. The low minimum temperature for most places is being set a lot higher than it ever was before, and that's a direct result of the problems that we had after the tsunami and earthquake, and dealing with what kind of energy Japan's going to use now in the future. So you notice a lot of stores, I know the post office, it feels like it's so hot in there. They probably have it set to like, I think 25, but it just feels like it's sweltering because they've used to maybe make it 23, but then they changed it and made it 25 degrees Celsius instead. So, but people are making that change to try to make things better. You go to stores and it's still pretty cool, but then the minute the store closes, the temperature goes up. They turn off the air. So the people working have to suffer through the heat because they want to kind of cut back as much as they can. I think, the hardest thing to get used to and thinking about is that kids have school for so long in Japan. They're usually in school here until about this week, actually through this week, and then school, summer vacation starts on the 23rd. Monday, yeah. So, they've been in school this whole time, and there's no air conditioning in the schools. Maybe the teacher's lounge has a little air conditioning, but usually they just prop open the windows and deal with the bugs flying in and try to stay cool. It's pretty hot. Sometimes the school's let out early if it's too hot. You hear stories of some people collapsing from, heat exhaustion and those kinds of things. So you have to be careful. Make sure you drink a lot and stuff like that. But of course, everybody wants to stay cool here during this time, so you see a lot of people selling fans in the stores. There's uchiwa kind, which is just like a flat kind, and then the kind that collapses too. Those are common. And then everybody can, buy different cool, a whole new line of stuff is out now to stay cool. You can buy these kinds of like neckties that go around your neck that you put in the freezer first. They get really cold, or just spritz them with water even and they get really cold. Wear that during the day. There's sprays that have a cooling feature to them. There's soap, there's shampoo. They all have like a menthol kind of mint to them, and they are really cooling and they make you feel really refreshed. The other thing is to get these kinds of wipes that you use that are really nice because they refresh you and get rid of any sweat, and then they leave like a nice little powdery feel behind, which is really nice, and they smell really good. So those are another common thing that people use to stay cool and avoid all the sweat, because you just basically sweat all day long because of the humidity. So pretty hot, yeah. So but all sorts of new things, random things, whole lines of clothing that are supposed to be better because it's heat, it's hot. Special lines of suits for people that have to work, of course, that are designed to help air filter through better so that you can stay cool. Anything you can think of, I've come up with it as a part of a marketing ploy, of course, to keep things going. But I think one of the things that I thought was kind of cool is that lately Japan's been trying to implement this idea of this cool business attire, which is a special kind of business code, dress code for summer specifically, so that people can still look nice but stay cool. Usually businesses are pretty strict in Japan still. There's no casual Friday. It's usually suits every day. So wearing short sleeve shirts was like bad, taboo for a long time, and then they kind of let go and said, okay, fine, you can do that. Kind of loosening up, and you don't have to have a jacket. Maybe you could just wear a shirt. Those kinds of things. Those rules have sort of changed to kind of make it a little bit easier so that people can get through the day even though it's really hot. So ice cream sales, of course, are crazy. People buy ice cream all the time and eat snow cones, or kakigori, which is a really common thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about those when we talk about festivals later. But lots of great ways to stay cool and try to fight the heat. Sitting around with windows open just for that hope of catching a little breeze is a good way too. So I'd be curious if you guys have any surefire ways of staying cool that you know of and you'd love to share. I know, everybody does their best to try to stay cool, or you just crank up the air conditioning depending on where you live. But